Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be discussing our budget and relocating and what our monthly budget is going to look like in Bangkok, Thailand. It's where I grew up, it's where I went to international school, so we're moving back and this is our budget and what we think we're going to, live comfortably on in Thailand. So first of all, unexpected expenses. I'm going to come back to this because I really don't know. Like, I broke my finger and needed surgery playing basketball here in the States, and my deductible already is very expensive and it still costs me a lot of money out of pocket. So I'm anticipating from everything that I have heard that the health system, the health care, and the cost is pretty affordable over there. So that's something I'm looking forward to. I need to do a little bit more due diligence and research what my allocation for that is. So that's a big question mark for me. So in anticipation of moving, there's going to be some upfront expenses. Downsizing the house, selling the house. I'm not going to include that in my moving, but shipping some of our goods over there. We're not going to need a lot of this stuff. This is a 6,000 square foot house. Part of the allure for me moving to Thailand is really downsizing, not needing all the cars and the boat and the 6,000 square foot house and everything. So the allure and part of the saving money is going to be saving that monthly expense. We plan on renting, not purchasing. So there will be an expense there, whereas here we don't have that expense. We don't have a mortgage. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I think our taxes, though, on the house might be a wash in rent, just in upkeep and taxes. So we are allocating a maximum of $2,000 for rent. And we're looking to be in the area of Sukhumvit, most likely, maybe Rama 9. Maybe Sawthorne, but Sukhumvit is kind of the area that we're looking for because there are some schools that we're interested in going to, which is American School of Bangkok, NIST, NIST, what's the other one? Berkeley is the other one. Berkeley. It seems like a pretty beautiful school. So those are the three schools that we're interested in. And we're allocating anywhere from from 20,000 a year to 25,000 a year in tuition. That's expensive. It's more expensive than what we're used to paying here, but going to a good school is something that we really want for our kids. So that's an expense that we take. She goes to private school now, but her expenses are only about half of that. So there's an uptick in expense there. All right, we're going to switch this up a little bit and go to the basement. Okay, so in the middle of my video, wifey came home and told me I need to go to the store to buy steak and salad for the 4th of July. So some of the things I'm going to miss are the car. So yes, cars are something that I have a little bit of a soft spot for. I've owned all sorts of exotic and supercars, Lamborghinis. This is a 2024 Z06. Love cars. So we are probably going to buy a car in Thailand, at least one to start. And it's going to be very modest. It's probably going to be, because cars are so expensive. So it'll probably be like a Honda CR-V or Toyota 4Turner or something like that. So I'm gonna miss driving the sports cars. But if we end up staying long term, I see myself probably getting something in Thailand. I just don't know. I don't know exactly what it will be. That's not something that I'm gonna budget for in this video. Another thing to consider is just missing family. That's gonna be something that's big. So it's also gonna be something in our budget to fly home often. And so that's something to consider in the budget. And we have a family of 3, so it's not just a single guy or retired guy who's going to be flying home. I'll be flying home for business, which I'm not going to include in my my regular expenses. But our personal expense, we're going to fly at least once a year home, and we plan on spending the summers here. So $1,500 times 3 is $4,500. Something I'm not going to miss, however, is taking a 18-minute drive, 20-minute drive to go to Costco, staying in the lines, to go shopping. Like what I'm really looking forward to is just coming right out of the condo and being able to grab food, local Thai food. I'm sure I'm gonna miss, American food, and they have that there, and it's more expensive, and I get that. But a huge budget saver is going to be on food. So I'm gonna show you what we are planning for food. First, I'm just gonna get home, get these groceries in the fridge, and we'll get back to the budget. I don't know if there's any car fans, but that's for you. If you're a car fan, had to do a poll there. But back to the budget. Speaking of cars, it's buying a car is not something we're 100% certain of there. So that may be a one-time expense of about 40 or 50 grand. 40 or 50 grand. We're probably going to buy something like a Honda or something like that. But if we do, then we'll need to add on an expense for a driver. Because Bangkok driving is no joke, especially for my wife. I can handle it growing up there, but it is no joke. If you can't get in there and make your way, then you're not going anywhere. So for now, we'll just leave out the one-time expense of a vehicle and a driver because I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so what have I got? I'm back home now. I think I have rent and school. That's about it. So between those two, it's a bit of a range. I don't have the exact numbers yet because we haven't decided what school, and we really don't know exactly what size of a house and how new of an apartment, I should say. What size of an apartment and how new of an apartment we want. So, for the apartment, I've got a budget of between $1,500 and $2,000 US and monthly. And for the school, I've got between $20,000 roughly to $25,000 is what I'm thinking. So sorry about the shaky camera, but yes, between those two, we're looking at roughly $5,000 a month on the high side, just for rent and schooling. And I'm probably going to lump in electricity in there because I don't think I want to spend $2,000 a month on the rent itself. I'm leaning towards 50,000 baht roughly or so, so maybe around $1,500 US, and then add in some ancillary fees for electricity, aircon, stuff like that. I think if I budget $2,000 a month for that, I'm going to be fine. So that puts me at $50,000, right around $50,000 just between those two things annually. What else? Let's talk about food. Let's talk about our food budget. But I think I need to pour myself a cocktail while we talk about the food budget. I just tried this for the first time the other day. Somebody gave it to me on something, but it's delicious. The Totori Japanese whiskey. I love whiskey. It's probably something I got from growing up in Thailand. I remember the first time I had whiskey was probably 8th grade in Bangkok. I lost my train of thought because just whiskey. Ooh, that is good. Okay, so food and entertainment, this is where your budget can go berserk. Let me just actually back up and tell you what my goal is for the entire year. Anywhere between $80,000 annually and $120,000 annually. And I know that $40,000 is a big discrepancy, but there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of, we don't know how often we're going to be traveling back to the States as a family. We don't know how much we're going to be spending on entertainment. Things like that. There's a lot of lot of ifs. So we're at about $4,000 a month just between schooling and rent, roughly. Yeah. I think if I were to add another $3,000, that's roughly $100 a day for entertainment and food. That's more than enough. In fact, I think we can squeeze in quite a bit of travel, local travel, going to Phuket, going to Chiang Mai, just little trips to Vietnam on a budget. But with that $3,000 a month, we love Thai food. My wife loves Thai food. I love Thai food. We're gonna have to get the kiddo a little bit more acclimated, but there are some dishes she loves. So that puts us, what, at $7,000 a month. That's $84,000 a year. We're gonna tack on another 10 to 15,000 of family travel to bigger places, like coming to the States, going maybe to Japan. Even though, flights from Bangkok to Japan are actually very affordable. Maybe the accommodations are going to be a little bit more expensive in Japan. But yeah, 84,000, 94 to 100,000 right there. And then some unknowns like insurance. Insurance, I think maybe another 10 grand for the family annually. So we're sitting now at like 110 a year. And I think, by the way, when I added that 3,000, I think a lot of ancillary items can fall in there. There's no way we're going to spend $100 a month eating and watching movies and stuff like that. I don't drink. I rarely drink, probably once every 3 months. I'll go have a cocktail with the gents. My wife doesn't drink at all. And we love Thai food. We love living a little bit below our means, and on this budget, even if we do go on the high side of about 120,000, we're still saving about half of what we spend, if not more than half of what we spend here in the States. It's difficult to compare because a lot of the items that we have in the States, we pay for cash, and then how do you figure that into a monthly budget? Because you get some of those assets back, even if they're a depreciating asset like a car, you get some of that money back when you sell it. I guess you could take the delta and divide it over the months. It's just a lot of work. I'm just, part of the reason we want to move is we want to just simplify our lives. We love the culture. Growing up, loved being exposed to something different, and we really want that for our daughter. So, I don't think we don't need all the things that we have here. And it's a little bit exhausting keeping up with all the crap that we have. So we're kind of looking forward to just diving in. My wife is Vietnamese American. And for her, she moved to the States. It's funny because I always make fun of her and tell her I'm more Asian than she is because I grew up in Thailand. But she moved to the States when she was like 3 or 4 and went to Thailand for the first time last year. And so it's going to be a huge shell shock, or I should say culture shock, for her and my kid too. We had a blast last time, but living there is another story. Dealing with the traffic, missing the family at home. These are two of the biggest negative drawbacks. But the cultural experience, the life, and not having the pressure of, I just feel like here in the States, we've had so much pressure with the businesses and stuff. And so we want to really simplify our lives, sell our assets here, and we won't fully retire. And so visas is something we probably want to talk about. I'm not old enough to get a retirement visa. So we'll talk about that in another video. But we definitely want to work less, and we want to enjoy what Thailand has to offer. We want to enjoy travel a little bit more. Being able to zip over to Malaysia, zip over to even Australia, which is a long trip from Bangkok, but from the States, forget about it. It's insanely long. Coming home will be long, but I'm willing to do that more just for business. And then when we come with the family, it's just going to be sort of a once a year stay for 2 months type of thing. We're excited, and that's our budget. It's a very simple budget, but I think within that budget of $80,000 to $120,000 a year, we're going to get a really nice condo, either a really new one that's smaller or a pretty large one that's a little bit older, maybe a building from the 2000s. And a helper. We could have a cleaner come in. Probably we don't want them to live in, but probably part-time, 5 days a week. Coming in and helping cleaning is just those little things that aren't the norm here in the States that we're really looking forward to. And the culture, and I think I've said that like 900 times, but that's our budget. Let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of people move to Thailand and live on a lot less than even $80,000 or definitely $120,000. But For us, we feel like that this budget is going to give us some margin of error. Some of those things are going to be adjusted when we get there. Again, the rent, we're not 100% sure what we're going to fall in love with. I don't want to go and spend $3,000 or $4,000 a month in rent. I think it is defeating the purpose a little bit of moving. So we are going to have to downsize in size. Bangkok is a big city and the apartments are small compared to this crazy house that we have for 3 of us that we don't need. So what's your guys' budget if you're planning on moving? What are you thinking, or what are you trying to live? I think that if you have a dollar amount, you can make it work in Bangkok. You can, I guess, retrofit what you're doing to make it work. Because I know there are people who live there for $3,000 a month, no problem, and that's a decent life. And there's people that live there less than that. So I think what you really need to do is figure out what you're comfortable spending, and we've kind of done that on where we want to spend, and we're going to make the rest kind of happen. So follow us along. By the way, we've not moved yet, but we are in the process of planning, and we're going to spend a month there next year just to see. I guess the wife needs to be completely sold on it, but I think we're sitting pretty good. The travel aspect really gets her. She just can't wait to travel around Southeast Asia. And missing home is going to be big for her, and it's going to be a culture shock, but it's also going to be an adventure. And I hope you guys join us along the way. And don't forget to subscribe, because we're going to grow this channel. We're going to be a part of this expat community in Bangkok and in Thailand. So thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for watching.